that. Call to order. Call to order. Roll call, and then pledge. Go for it, Sam.
Okay, so
Yeah.
ready to go.
Call to order. Roll call, and then pledge.
Yep, we can
Go for
start
it,
whenever
Sam.
you're ready.
Oh, I hear an echo.
Yeah, I had to turn it off. Now we're
Oh, okay, thanks. You don't need the roll call then?
Yeah, no, I just meant we're live now, so we can call the meeting to order.
Oh, okay, yes, the meeting is called to order, and you can go ahead and proceed with the roll call.
Okay, so if you could just say yes, that you are able to see and hear and speak. Commissioner Scher,
Yes.
Commissioner Resnick,
Yes.
Judy's not here. Commissioner Cant,
Yes.
Commissioner Lay,
Sorry, I was muted. Yes.
perfect, and Chair Caption. And we will know if Commissioners Meredith and McDonald sign in.
Yeah, have you heard?
I believe
have you-
Judy's on not going to be here. I think she's out of town this week.
Oh, right, okay. Okay, great. So now let's go ahead with the Pledge of Allegiance. The flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, doke. I only heard myself, but oh, everybody else is muted. Huh. Okay. I'll be right back. I'm just gonna grab my agenda.
Oh, there's Jim.
Okay.
Perfect.
Oh, it's from the back. So I imagine I'm still printing the agenda. So I imagine that one of the things that we usually do is approve the minutes from the last meeting. Am I guessing?
First up, I can share it on, so then you can see it. Is adoption of the agenda for tonight?
Oh, okay. So let's go ahead and do we have to move to adopt the agenda?
Yes.
There. Oh, thank you, Sam.
Yep.
It's still printing away.
Okay.
Adopt. Okay. So is there a motion to adopt the agenda?
I move we adopt the agenda as identified.
Okay. Is there a second?
I second.
Okay. And we need a roll call vote.
Commissioner Lay,
Yes.
Commissioner Scher,
Yes.
Commissioner Resnick,
Yes.
Commissioner McKee Cant,
Yes.
and Vice Chair McDonald.
Yes.
Welcome, and Chair Caption.
Yes. Great. Okay. Now, is there a motion to approve the minutes from our meeting in January?
So can the first one was the December meeting. We didn't approve it last month because we didn't have a quorum that was actually at that meeting.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yes.
So just as a reminder, Commissioners Lay and Cant are abstaining from the vote, but we have enough to approve it. So
Okay, great. So I move that we go ahead and approve the minutes from the December 6th meeting. Sorry.
So move.
and Noel second, and Commissioner Scher,
Yes.
Commissioner Resnick,
Yes.
Commissioner Vice Chair McDonald,
Yes.
and Chair Caption.
Yes.
Thank you.
Great.
And now, Jane.
Okay. Now we can move on to a motion for approval of the minutes from January 3rd.
I move we approve the January minutes.
Okay, is there a second?
I will second those.
Perfect. And Commissioner Lay,
Yes.
Commissioner Scher,
I was absent, so I will abstain.
Commissioner Resnick,
Yes.
Commissioner Cant,
Yes.
Vice Chair McDonald,
Yes.
and we'll wait for Cindy.
I can hear you. I just can't see.
Okay, you can just say yes, if you agree with the minutes.
Yes, yes. I'm running out of paper. All right.
Let me know when you want me to stop sharing the screen.
No, well, I just let's see. It prints from the bottom to the top, so I have I'm just here staff report. So keep on. This is kind of interesting, Sam. I sort of like
Let
looking
me
at.
see my side of things. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. Okay, so next public comment. Has there been any public comment?
Nope, there is none.
Okay. And now we have administrative items and the budget.
Great. So before you tonight, the town starts its budget process fairly early in the year. Staff started working on it in setting dates and everything in December, November, and then in January, we start looking at it more earnestly. And so we have about a month from now to finalize our submission. So what that means is we prepare our draft budget for the town manager to look at, and then that goes forward to the town council for their approval and consideration. So some of this may look familiar to those of you who were with us last year. I used the same format that we used last year. And so we go through, and in your packet, there was draft budgets for each of your 3 accounts or accounting areas. So we'll take a look at that. First off is the general fund. And so this, just to kind of give you an overview of how I format this spreadsheet. So up here on the top are our revenues in green. And it kind of, these outline what is what really, these right here. And now I don't know how to get rid of that. I didn't realize that. That was fun. And so then this is what was budgeted this current year, this first line here. This is what we've spent or what we've earned so far this year. So it kind of tells us that basically at the middle of the year where we're at. This is what I estimate your year end to be. So where do we think you're going to end the year as far as revenues? And then this continues on with expenses. And then this is what I have put in as a recommended budget based on the status quo, basically. So that doesn't mean that this is in any way final. It's really a jumping off point for you. So for your revenues, we show general fund town funding. So that's basically the deficit that the town makes up with general fund money for the arts programs. We continue to receive the NBTID sponsorship for the arts. Well, it says arts in April. I need to update that. It should be for art sip and stroll now. Sculpture sales, our art sip and stroll booth fees. So that's what we charge the artists. Art sip and stroll tasting packages. And then, although not this year, but some years we've received some other grant funding. So this is where we're at as of right now, which it may look strange, but it's not uncommon because the majority of our revenue comes in around the art sip and stroll event, with the exception of sculpture sales. So we have sold, or sculpture art sales. We have sold just over $38,000 in art so far this fiscal year. So maybe back up a sec, that's an important thing to note, is that the town is on a fiscal year budget. So our budget year starts July 1st and it ends June 30th. So that's where we're at on that. So this is where I estimate that we would end the year, that we would have the town funding. We will get our NBTID sponsorship. Our booth fees may come in just a little bit less than estimated. And that's just me being reasonable on if we're gonna have 60 artists or 55 artists kind of a thing. So that's just a an estimate, and then we would be higher up in tasting packages as we resume pre-COVID type numbers for tasting packages, which would be 1,000. But we may end up going over that too if we get enough wineries signed up. So this is what I would recommend as far as revenues for next year, and that's just based, like I said, on the status quo. Trying to just be reasonable, although that, you know, this could probably go up a little bit.
Wouldn't that be up this year, Sam?
It's up. I'm estimating it be up. I'm just looking at, I try to just be reasonable with my numbers, but we could increase that for the future years. That would be for next year's budget.
Sam?
Yeah.
We had quite, mainly because of Guy Buffet, we had, I didn't do a fiscal year, but for the calendar year, our art sales from the gallery were 90 something $1,000.
Yeah, because that was the calendar year.
Right, did
So
that
this is
miss?
what came in at the last, I think he was only in the gallery another 3 weeks or 4 weeks into the fiscal year. So that would just have been the end.
So that would have counted, yeah, it was $92,400. And so that would be in last fiscal year?
Most of it.
Most of it, okay.
It's split fiscal years, his sales. So this
Okay.
makes up some of that.
It's surprising how much that was,
Yeah,
which was,
yeah. It was a lot of sales. It was also a lot of expense because we turn around and write them checks too. Or most of it was us getting partial, just our check from them with our.
sure, right, yeah. But, for us, it would be another almost $20,000.
Yeah, it was a huge.
So is sculpture sales, does that include his gallery sales as well?
Yeah, I need to update that to just say art.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So it's gallery and sculpture.
And we don't budget that number, right?
No, we don't. We don't budget the in or the out because we know it'll always net in a benefit to us. And we have no way of knowing.
Last year, I think we'd all agree was the perfect storm.
Yes.
People were in their yards, they were buying sculptures with 13 of them or whatever. And Guy Buffet, when
Yes.
we worked hard for those results, all of us, but but he was also selling $40,000 paintings. So that number adds, goes up, kind of drives the other numbers. So anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the 38,000 is not our commission. That's the full amount. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So moving on to expenses, we is the town, like if you look at our budget document, we put things into certain categories. And so that's what these other supplies is a category, contract services, advertising, equipment rentals, conference and travel. And then there's a line item for artist payments for art sold. So this is kind of the overview of what I'm going to get into next, which is more of the detail. But it does kind of show you if we move forward status quo, our expenses for the year are just about 82,150. And again, that doesn't include artist sale out. And so with our revenue, that's how I get this town sponsor or town general fund money to kind of make up the difference. So let me get into the next page, which is the detail of that, which probably makes more sense for you. Doesn't let me move my arrow to the next page, apparently. I'm new at this arrow deal. All right, so how that breaks down is we look at the gallery. And this is just based again on status quo. So we do 3 to 4 exhibits, we say a year. Actually, sometimes it's 5 if we put a couple short shows in there. So what we budgeted this fiscal year was $650 for other supplies, which is mostly exhibit signage. And then we have, we haven't really done many rack cards or anything. We did a few of those. And then the And then this is again the actual. So this is what we've spent at mid-year. This is my estimated year end. And then what I'm recommending for next year if we're doing the same amount. And then again, that would be refreshments. We haven't spent a whole lot because of COVID. We haven't really provided a whole lot, but I anticipate that changing. And then also advertising and marketing. So that if we do Facebook paid ads or we place the ads in the Yountville Sun. So we did spend a little bit more on some advertisement this year. So I am proposing we adjust that up in the next year. So you don't, I just want to premise this too. I don't want to stem any new ideas or anything for the commission to discuss. Tonight's just really a jumping off point, and then we can update and add this for the March meeting to approve so that I can then bring it forward to the council. So just a jumping off point. I don't want to not have new ideas come up. So arts and stroll is our largest expense area. So this is what we've budgeted for this year in marketing. We buy maps, collateral, and other materials, parking. If we have to have shuttle service, or in the past when we've had offsite parking, musicians, event assistants. So that would be our hired event help. Glasses and other supplies, rentals of the tents, and all of that is by far the largest expense. And then this year we're looking at adding site-specific Wi-Fi for the event. So that was a new expense. We haven't spent any money yet, hardly, because we're just getting there. It's all going to start flying out the door. And then this is where I would estimate our year end. I do think we'll spend all the money we said we're going to spend. And so next year, I just base this on that same status quo budget. We're not.
Are you putting the posters into the collateral material?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then literary programs, although we haven't done many, we do have some coming up. So I've kept a small budget in there for that. Advertising, marketing, refreshments, and any other supplies. We also budget for 10% of Danielle's time for marketing and event assistance for Yountville Arts. So that is this full-time in part, but we also budget a small amount of part-time staff time as well to support Yountville Arts. I am proposing that we increase that part-time support going into next year with some changes. You guys are a lot more active than you've been before. And so I have an idea around trying to find or hire a specific arts assistant that would help and kind of come on to be designated part-time for marketing and events that would be specific for Yountville Arts.
Thank you.
Oh, well,
If we
especially since with that'd be great. Yeah, with performing arts as well. That's going to be, another chunk. So
That's
that'd
exciting.
be great.
Yeah, so that's in the idea. And then other retreats and meetings, I assume we'll continue getting back onto the annual retreat. And then the travel and training budget. We did propose the travel for more sculpture reconnaissance prior to the pandemic, and then the town we had budget cuts in all travel and training areas, so we did add that back in. So that is the travel and training area. So that kind of encompasses what this wraps up. So all of those areas that we broke out. So again, this is just general fund. We'll talk about the art walk in a few minutes. Is all outlined right up here. And then this number, the general fund will change just a little bit because I just put in a top number for staffing costs, and then under that they'll roll any of the other overhead. So it increases that number just a little bit. So in our final budget proposal, this
Sam,
town
I'm
funding.
sorry. I have a question on that first column. Isn't that when it's the estimated year end, isn't that the total of everything that's in that column?
Yes.
Okay, it's 59,000. The column next to it is 76,000.
Yes. I think that's not right now.
That's, the numbers are almost exactly the same, and by my math, it's like that doesn't add up. Does it?
Yeah, you're right. So, there's an issue there with my calculations in that spreadsheet. Just a second.
Yeah, that 59 looks off.
79,644 is
Yeah.
Yeah, this is wrong too. Something's wrong there. That'll get corrected.
Okay,
Sorry about
thank you.
that.
No worries.
They're wrong all the way across. Sorry about that.
Well, the second column is pretty good.
Yeah,
The
that one's correct.
first one, I don't know. Yeah, 21,000. Yeah, the first one's off too, huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the last one looks correct to me, Sam.
Yeah,
The
I
last one's correct. It's just these ones are not. So
Yeah.
that's, that's 2 out of 4. That's pretty good.
and carry over. So I think this is a really good time to talk about anything new that you wanted to focus on that we wouldn't, have typically had in the budget in previous years. Under, these areas, everything but the art walk. Or we can just kind of pose that as a question tonight and then come back at our March meeting and really hone in on it. I'll kind of leave that up to you guys. Or if you think that we anticipate pretty status quo programming in the future for next fiscal year.
Well, I think, Robin, the biggest change is our new subcommittee for performing arts. And it'd be nice if they had some kind of a budget, or I don't know, have you, how does that work with the current budget for the, I don't know, Robin, do you have thoughts about that? Like currently we have the, with the music in the park, right? And so are we going to be involved in that or
Thank you.
not?
Yes, the plan is to actually be there as a host with separate equipment. Nothing too elaborate, but certainly speaker, microphone to kind of kick off shows. And then
Okay.
I'm going to work with the committee, which, as I understand, Jeff has shown interest in being on that committee as an official member. So I'm thrilled. Welcome. And then I've got Susan Dean and Carol, maybe Lynn Pena, a few people that want to work on an advisory level. So, but with the setup and the commitment of being there, I was going to ask if there is any budget for equipment, or just to cover a little bit of responsibility, kind of offset my time and effort to get things over there. But that wouldn't be much.
So it's not legal for us to compensate commissioners. I can't contract with you or compensate you for that type of a project. So I would have to assign that to a staff person or contract with someone to provide those services. So the town does, my department has a budget for music in the park already. And we do have our own portable equipment for microphones and stuff. I mean, typically we use the band that was there, but there's just, it's not legal for us to,
It was
you can't make money off with the
Right.
role on the commission, basically.
not
So,
to get rich. Okay.
yeah, if there was someone else that you wanted to propose contracting with or hiring to provide those services, then that's something we can look at.
The other thing I would say is Sam brings up a good point that the committee will have a greater role and engagement, in helping to select and expand the music in the park as one of your activities. And at this point in time, that does come with a budget. So if we do need to add a little bit to that budget, that will get added to that process. What I would also say, and this is probably a reminder for some of you that have been on a while, and since there are some newer faces, typically when we start new programs, they grow slow and incremental because we need to look at what is, if we're adding new programming, if they're a revenue aspect or just an expense aspect. So, without having a plan in front, it's hard to say, oh, we're going to go put 10,000 more. So this is to the point where if there's some substance to it, then we could work on incorporating the budget. But Sam and I would need a little more development input in order to know, because part of what our job is, we also have to be able to explain, so if we put 10,000 for performing, we need to have some idea about what that is. And if there's going to be ticket sales, concessions. So I share that with you only because you're now seeing the full evolution. I can assure you that the very early art sip and stroll budgets did not approach $70,000. Now, the good news is we don't necessarily need our programming and activities to make money. In many cases, breaking even or providing, not even breaking even, but if it does so in a measured way, can be okay. And then ideally, if we could create some seed money to continue. So I'm just saying that as Cynthia's point is, if we have an idea about what drives a number, we can certainly look at it. And I think that's probably worthy of you all having a little bit of conversation as to what might that look like. And if there's some expansion, again, building off the music in the park, that part, you do not have to pay for the band stipends. That will come out of a different budget. And if there's some additional ideas that you have to make that enhancement, for the experience, we can work on that. And that probably can come out of our community engagement budget, where I believe right now is currently where we have music in the park.
Let's just say, for example, because it's a bit of a chicken and an egg thing, right? Because it's say, for example, we wanted music at a gallery opening or at every gallery opening, and we wanted to hire a musician for that. We don't have a budget to do that.
But see, it's not that complicated. So that would be exactly what in the time period you would say we want to do that. And we're looking at a stipend of, I'm just going to pick a number, $250. So then how many gallery opens do you anticipate? Or 500. So you actually can develop a budget, but then we can explain it because it's going to be 4 gallery openings with a musical component, with a stipend, and that's how we can build your budget. So that's how to, and that's an incremental. In fact, I would actually say that's probably a very viable way to approach something in an incremental way. And then
don't we need to do that soon?
Well, that's what Sam is telling you. This is the entry. This is the beginning to tell you have a couple months to put that we're working on that to 1 month. I'm sorry, I was being too kind. So Sam doesn't usually have to be, but that's why if you're going to put some ideas together, this is why she refers to it as a version of a status quo. But I'm just using what you talked about is a very doable from a budgeting, because we can say, 4 events, $500 stipend. We need to add 2,000 to our gallery budgets, whether it shows up as a line item in performing arts or gallery. Sam and I can play around with the nuances. And the same way with having, you're going to see what I call connected dots. You're taking on a bit of a role with the music in the park, but the funding will be given to you, which is also not uncommon with how we budgeted other things.
Okay.
And if you come up with some new ideas in this time period, we're still very receptive to understanding it. You may have an idea for something that has both a revenue and an expense.
And so, yeah, so adding music to gallery shows is something we'd already talked about, and we could add that as an expense under the gallery, or we can, we haven't had, at one point, music in the park funding money was under Yountville Arts, and then when we had no one, the Arts Commission didn't oversee that anymore. It's in the events budget of Parks and Recreation, and so that would just be moving it if we wanted to. But as far as what you are getting at, Robin, we would have to kind of figure out, what that looks like.
And come to us next time with the budget proposal, basically. Robin?
It would be great if you could work with me before the next meeting. So if we have an idea, that we want to add, a performer to each gallery opening out front or wherever, then we can talk about it offline so that we're able to bring that back as part of the draft that's approved at the next meeting. Would be the goal.
Okay.
Well, I'll definitely meet with Cindy and Jeff and get more of an established idea plan. Thank you.
But I would say if it's part of the gallery events that we as the at least gallery subcommittee should talk about a little bit. And since we're going to be doing a Hispanic exhibit in, I guess that's July, then that to me would be the one gallery event that would most suggest music, but we need to have that conversation.
Yeah.
I think you're also talking here about programming, because it could be that what you're doing is having a gallery reception and a X, and X is in the plaza or something. So I think in my recollection of some of the spirit of the conversation, part of it was how to provide a little more emphasis and exposure to performing. So I think that was, if I'm recalling it right, and it may lead to itself. I mean, the very first several years of Art Sip and Stroll did not include any buskers or music. And now, that's incorporated and grown quite a bit as well. So I think there's several ways, if we look at how the Performing Arts Committee, and we also, one year we decided to sponsor Napa Valley Community, did a Shakespeare production in the park, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think we did it twice.
Yep. So there's different things.
Okay. So within the next month, my hesitation is the committee, like if Robin and Jeff and I are talking in the Performing Arts Committee, and then we go to Jim, we have 4 people and we're talking about a budget item outside of a meeting.
Yeah, and
I
here,
would suggest that the chair of these 2 subcommittees are who would discuss it, not.
Oh, okay. So Robin and Jim would talk,
Right.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay.
and I would encourage you all to, work through Samantha, because here you're really talking, and again, you don't have to have this down to the final T. It's just, we need a rough idea of X for Y.
Right.
Here's this idea, and this is what we think it might be. And if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen, because our general rule is, if it doesn't happen, we don't spend the money. So, what we really try to avoid is what I call an allowance with no real preordained idea of what we're going to do with it.
Right.
But if you have some ideas, then
Right.
we work towards, and then, incrementally, I think there's opportunities. And it sounds to me like you already are genesizing a few things that I think aren't going to be hard for us to incorporate.
Right. Thank you.
Steve, is it also possible that over the year, if a new project comes up, that we can shift the budget around a little bit from one category to another?
Yes. Now I'm going to say that, or in some cases, if something new and exciting comes up and we have I'm going to, Chaos Complona comes to mind, although that's really predate, because every once in a while there's a unique opportunity that we did not anticipate. So the short answer is yes. And then some ability to move within, but a lot of your programs are now getting to where the money is getting dialed into certain things. So, but yes, the short answer is you have a fair amount of flexibility within range. And like I say, if something new comes up, Your commission enjoys a strong reputation with both staff and the council, and if there's something that makes sense, we can certainly work towards that adjustment.
Great, thank you.
All right, so are we ready to move on to the art fee fund?
Yep.
Okay, so this is, they'll get shorter now as we move along. So can you see my screen with the art fee fund up?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So this is the designated fund to support the art walk, the outdoor art walk. And this is revenue comes from a 1% fee or valuation on every commercial building permit. And so when a commercial building permit is pulled and they pay the deposit fee, they can then choose to place art with that money, which has not happened yet. Hopefully someday it will. Or the fee then, the deposit fee then goes into a revenue account, which can be spent on supporting the art walk. So this is our budgeted year this year. We started the fund balance just over 58,000, wherein we had anticipated $7,500 in revenue and some interest income. As of January, this is our fund balance, just over 44,000. We have seen a 1% fee move over of just over 6,200 and a little bit of interest income. This is where I'm estimating that we'll end the year. So our fund balance at the end of the year would be 44,800. And then this is the recommended numbers for next year. So this is kind of a tricky one. This is based on me looking at what is in the deposit account right now. So these are projects that are currently underway where the money's in the deposit account. They haven't indicated they're placing art, but they can't move that money until the project has been signed off. So the permit is closed. So I look at that, and that's really the only way I can estimate what revenue may come into this. We may hear of things that might be coming up locally, like so-and-so property might, do a renovation or something like that. But until that permit is pulled and those numbers are calculated, we don't count on that.
Yeah, and I'll just echo what Sam is saying. The good news, bad news on this one is you will get whatever it is, and we're never going to be right on the estimate because it's also a timing of when the building permit is issued. It does only apply to commercial, and there are some folks that are looking at some potential commercial projects. The good news is because it applies to building permits, we do tend to pick up a bit more than just some of the conventional public art fees that only have for new construction. So, but you also get it in small amounts sometimes rather than large. But if something big was to come, I am shocked. We've had a few people talk to us, but usually they talk to us as a way to avoid paying the fee. And when we explain to them and remind them the documents they signed that, you've got to pay it, and then we give it back to you when you actually place the art. And you may also remember the commission actually has to approve the art. Mm-hmm. So in most cases, our business community is well-intentioned, has not proven to be forward-thinking enough to place the art, and they have trusted the program in place. So view that as a compliment.
So Sam, is this the budget category, the art fund here, the one where we were trying to keep it at 40,000 and not go off and spend on buying sculptures for the town when it was below 40,000? Yeah,
so I noted here below just for my sake and the future commission. So in July of 2019, you approved a administrative policy to have a reserve balance of $40,000, which would provide for about 2 years of art walk expenses if funding should slow. So we're definitely seeing that this year. And next year, I'm anticipating we're going to really see that unless some large scale projects come on board. So when you look at the expenses, we placed a lot of art last year, and that was a lot of stipends and a lot of art plaques, and it was because we sold a lot of art. But you have to remember that we're not putting the sales revenue into this art fee fund. So we may get into there may be a time when we have to look at how we're using some of that sale revenue to support the art walk again, but that's not current, and I'm not recommending that right now. But if we don't see some large scale projects come on, it might be a discussion that we have to have. But so this is our current budget. We budget 1,500.
I'm sorry, can I
Yeah.
interrupt for a second? On that first line, the fund balance, how does it go down? I'm I'm following your arrow. So it's fund balance,
Mhm.
and then 2021 budgeted, and then it says 21-22 actual as of January,
So this is just
44,000.
where we started the year. So in July 1st of 2021, this is what was in the fund,
Okay,
and we spent quite a bit. So as of
Right.
July, as of January, 6 months in, this is minus what we spent.
okay, and then we're going to spend even more.
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yep. So this year, this was our budget. We budget for maintenance, which can be cleaning. It can be other things that we need to maintain the sculptures, sculpture pads. So if we need to add a pad or do some sort of maintenance there. Artist stipends is our largest. So for newer commissioners, we do pay a $2,500 stipend for each sculpture on a 2-year loan agreement. Plaques for those new sculptures. Any installation costs, so if we have to get a crane or a specialized piece of equipment, and then any other things that might come up. So these are our actuals as of January, a little bit of maintenance, mostly stipends. Plaques, I believe the cost of plaques has gone up. So I think they're averaging about $289 a plaque right now, and we budgeted less than that. We did some installation costs and some other, which I need to drill down on, make sure that doesn't belong somewhere else. But I'm estimating our year end to be right around what we budgeted, unless we place. So this is, we have 2 sculpture placements coming up. If we place more sculptures after that in the fiscal year, we will end up going over budget there. So this is what I'm recommending. Again, it's very status quo. And this is, last year was an anomaly. We placed a lot of art because we sold a lot of art, but typically we were placing between 6 and 8 sculptures a year. If you look back kind of historically, so that's where we get those numbers. But if we see a lot of movement coming up, then we may need to adjust that. So I'll kind of defer to our sculpture subcommittee and, looking at when things are timing out. And if we really anticipate a lot of movement in the next year, we would look at increasing those costs. But just so I'm anticipating we'll end the year in the fund just over 44,800. If we continue to see the slowdown in commercial building permits that we're seeing right now, by the end of next year, the fund could be under 30,000. So just kind of keeping that in mind. We're definitely not in the position to be probably buying any art or using anything other than this fund to support the art walk until we see some growth in that area.
So if this keeps going down, what do we consider like taking some of the funds in the community foundation area and moving them over? I mean, what?
There's a lot of different conversations we could have. I think that what probably we would look at is how do we use art sale revenue to then kind of reroute back around and support the art walk, I think would be our first thought. And then also how does the general fund support that. So, but what happens is last year we sold so much art that we paid the general fund back, everything was balanced, and then we moved that money into the Town of Yountville Community Foundation. So, that is a discussion to have, but, fingers crossed, I think, because I think we're in our we're in our fourth year, really our third earnest year of operating this art fee fund. Then we're learning how it ebbs and flows and how much it does cost to support the art walk with as active as it is. And I think it helps us planning for the future that, you know, we have our next big project come on that could, you know, be a significant revenue source that we should probably look at, you know, holding on to that for a while and finding alternate ways if we do want to buy sculptures in the future that are permanent, that we would maybe find other ways of sourcing that funds. So would be my
Well, this is the only restricted fund, right?
This is the only restricted fund, yes. Right. Any other questions on that one? Okay. So last one we're going to look at is the Town of Biancville Community Foundation. And this is the town's 501c3 organization. And so there is a Yountville Arts account under the Town of Yountville Community Foundation. And I switch it and then you see yourselves for a minute. That's when it moves over. So this is our 501c3 entity, and it has the Yountville Arts budget or a Yountville Arts account in there as well. This allows us to apply for grant funding occasionally that is only for nonprofits. It's also where we can accept tax deductible donations as applicable. So we have purchased art out of this account as well. And then at the end of the fiscal year, like last year, when we had so much revenue come in for sculpture sales, we were able to move that revenue into the Town of Yountville Community Foundation. So I kind of treat this as your savings account, but it also gives us the ability to be competitive for grants as well. So this year, the fund balance was $33,906 to start out the year, and that included money that was obviously from previous years. We had a small donations, and then this is what I was talking about when we discussed the revenue from sculpture sales. So 22,000 art sales. We moved 22,000 over into the Town of Yountville Community Foundation because we sold so much art last year. So we did go and purchase something this year. We bought Raven and Polly, and then there was another small, we got the mural fixed. Were the expenses. And so I'm anticipating, because we haven't allocated any other expenses this year, that we'll end the year just about $27,000 in the Town of Yountville Community Foundation Fund. So as of right now, I haven't heard that we have any ideas for allocating funds from that. This isn't, as Cindy mentioned, it's not restricted. This is one where I just bring it to you to be all encompassing of arts money. But this particular budget does not go forward to the town council for approval. This is through the Town of Yountville Community Foundation, so it's separate from the Town of Yountville's funds. Does that make sense? All right. So yeah, my hope would be to spend time with any of you who have new or interesting ideas or have questions. I mean, if you go back and review that and want to sit down and talk about it further, please reach out. But I would love to bring back to you in March as comprehensive as I can for you to take a look at and approve before, because I had to ask Celia for 3 more days to put budget numbers in because you meet on the deadline day. So we'll have that hopefully locked in on our next meeting, which is March 7th. You can review it ahead of time and really digest it before we move forward. And like Steve mentioned, you know, we've been creative in the past when we had the issues with COVID and we didn't spend some money in one area. We decided to pivot and use it in a different area. And then also we can always go back for a budget adjustment during the year if needed, if a significant opportunity arises. So I'm happy to answer any questions, but I've been talking for a while, so.
Thank you, Sam. That was really helpful. Any questions? Should we move on to our
Art fund.
our other items? Art fund. So art fund report, art walk. That was that was pretty much the fund report.
Yeah, I don't have anything else to add.
Okay.
The same numbers that you saw were on both, so if you have questions, just let me know.
Right. Okay. Well, how about Rhonda? Can you take it away then and talk about the Art Walk Subcommittee, Mayor in Full, and
Yeah, my
all the
report,
good things?
my report's pretty brief. The Mayor in Full, created by the late Jack Chandler, will be installed on Tuesday, the 15th at 8 o'clock. If anybody would like to take my place at 8 o'clock. But anyway, we'll be there at Hopper Creek. And so, hopefully that'll go pretty smoothly. We've done a lot of planning and a lot of work to make it go smoothly. And then the Dancing Butterflies piece by Peter Hazel is in progress. I saw it a couple weeks ago in his studio in Reno, and it's coming along. He would like to bring it down and install it the second or third week of February, but I don't have any confirmation on that. But the two of them are what's coming this month. And we have some other things in the fire, and if anything actually looks promising, we'll be talking about it to you in our March meeting. And we have some housekeeping issues to also talk to you, but that'll be in March. That's about it.
Thank you. Any questions for Rhonda? Okay, let's move on to the Gallery Subcommittee. And Jim, you want to address this?
Yeah. So you have a little bit of a schedule there. There's and we need to, I guess, approve two different gallery exhibits as a commission. I do want to correct, I think we made a change after Sam got this information. So let's see, what is it? So Nick Kahn's exhibit, I think it's correct in some places, but will run through July 17th. And then Jose Martinez's exhibit will open on July 21st. So I think we extended Nick Kahn's exhibit one additional week. So Nick is our featured art sip and stroll artist, and obviously you have heard about what he's done for the poster and all. He's opening, let's see, where is it? And I think I sent out some of his artwork as well. He will be opening May 19th, which is 2 days before Art Sip and Stroll. You've seen some of his artwork examples. He's been an illustrator for motion pictures and freelance designer, pretty prominent, and his home and studio are in Napa. So do we have any questions? I guess I think I'd like to just to throw it open to questions, and then we need to approve this. So I will make a motion, or have one of you make a motion. Any questions about Nick and Noel?
No, I was just going to motion to approve it. I think it's a wonderful idea to have Nick in the gallery and our featured artist for Art Sip and Stroll.
Okay, so you made a motion?
I did.
Right.
I'll second.
Oh, go ahead. Jeff beat me to it.
All right, Commissioner Lay,
Yes.
Commissioner Scher,
Yes.
Commissioner Resnick,
Yes.
Commissioner Cant,
Yes.
Vice Chair McDonald,
Yes.
and Chair Caption.
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you.
And just briefly, everybody, I apologize. I have another commitment that I need to slide to, but wanted to be able to participate in the budget discussions and framework, and always look forward to hearing what you have new and upcoming. So thank you much for all you're doing.
Thank you, Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
Bye, Steve.
Bye.
Okay, and moving right along, we have in July, July 21st, an opening for the artist Jose Martinez. Some of you may remember that he was in the gallery with two other Hispanic artists back in 2018. I sent some examples of his work, and one of the woman, which is pretty astounding, and he's done others, is what's called push pin art. It was a piece with 22,000 push pins. And we're going to, the exhibit will have a Hispanic theme, and there are going to be probably some add-on events we may do. And Samantha has used Jose in terms of art classes with her programming. So there's some things we'll do with him. Any questions about Jose Martinez? If not, do we have a motion?
I motion to approve.
I'll second that.
That's Cindy, yes.
Yep.
Commissioner Lay,
Yes.
Commissioner Scher,
Yes.
Commissioner Resnick,
Yes.
Commissioner Cant,
Yes.
Vice Chair McDonald,
Yes.
and Chair Caption.
Yes,
Thank you.
great. That's great. Thank you, Jim. That's really,
I think that's about it. I know we're working on some other things, which I don't think we'll get into right now, Rhonda, but we're always working on other things.
You guys scare me when you
for
say
the
that
gallery.
stuff.
What?
I always get scared. You're like, we're working on things, but we're not ready to tell you yet.
that's right.
But we can't finalize those things without bringing it before the commission, right?
It's okay. I always I get excited, you know?
Yeah.
It's you got to keep a little mystery in the committee.
Yeah.
That's great. Oh, Jim, you're up again on the literary subcommittee, and you're gonna welcome a new member.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So does that mean that Jeff is on two subcommittees now?
Yes.
Will be,
Performing
yeah.
arts and
Whatever.
literary.
Mhm.
Okay, so that answers what Jeff is going to be up to. That was going to be a question of mine later. So we have a few things for him to keep busy with.
I have a few ideas myself.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome.
Sam's excited.
Get nervous,
Okay.
Samantha.
Yeah, okay, good.
It's both.
Sam is upping that budget number for additional staff.
Don't abandon us.
Okay, so I don't know that there's nothing, we're moving along and mainly through Rhonda in terms of the Sasha Paulson book event in July. And do you want to talk more about that? And then September will be Art Sip and Stroll again, but
No, it will not. It's
What?
not Art Sip. I said it's not Art Sip and Stroll again in September. It's Yountville Out Loud. That one's much easier, Jim.
Okay. So Rhonda, do you want to say anything more about Sasha?
It's it kind of came together nicely in the last couple of weeks. We've got Lori Narlock doing the Q&A session and also Sasha's daughter participating, the three of them up on platform stage. Sam let us do it on a Saturday, which is great.
You want to give us the date?
The 15th, July 15th. Starting.
That's a Friday.
Oh, then the 16th. I'm sorry, Jen.
I don't want to miss it.
Anyway, it's coming along. Sasha's book will be certainly out through Lori Norlock. Bookmine has signed on. to provide offsite sales and so forth. Sam, have you guys connected yet, or?
She emailed me, I have it flagged, I need to respond, but yeah, I got it.
Okay, I'm sure. So anyway, that's not till July, but it's coming along, and it'll be fun. Sasha, as you all know, is features writer and has been editor for the Napa Register in the past, and this is her second book. So we're excited to have it.
Rhonda,
And we,
what time will that event be?
11 to 1.
Thank you.
okay, so that's exciting. And I don't think we've ever had a subcommittee meeting for the literary subcommittee. So maybe we need to do that. And it sounds like Jeff may be providing some new ideas for what we might consider. So that would be good.
And Jim, we've also, for Sasha's book reading, I don't know if we want to do anything special in the gallery as far as promoting Nick, but that's something.
And we agreed, we kind of extended Nick because we needed to give him a little bit more time, but his exhibit will still be up during this book event, correct?
Yes. He'll take it down the following day.
Right.
Normally it would be, we would take the gallery down on Friday,
Right.
but because of the book event, Nick agreed to let us go through Sunday.
That's a good idea. So then it's not white walls.
And since a couple of us have keys to the gallery, that means that we can do things on days like Sundays, right?
I'm not supposed to tell people that, Jim.
We'll erase the tape.
It works out well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's all I've got right now, unless anybody has a question.
Well, yeah, I have a question. Is Yountville Out Loud scheduled for a date?
No, but I will. Usually we do it. I could pick it right now, but no, we'll talk about it and then bring it forward.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Great. Thank you. Great. Thanks. Okay. I think Noelle, you're up now. Thank you, Jim.
Okay.
Noelle?
Well, last time we were together, we talked about a lot of things we were working on. And tonight we're going to talk about all the things we did last month. So to start with, I know you've, and I've shared a lot of this with you so you could see it. So some of this isn't going to be any surprise, but we obviously have the new Shop the Yountville Art Walk with the mustard up and running. And that looks really beautiful. And Danielle put out a lovely Yountville Arts newsletter this past month with a lot of great stuff in it. Really, honestly, it's looking more like the arts newsletter for Napa Valley. She's really included a lot of wonderful things in it, in addition to promoting our own events. And we also have our call for artists in there and call for musicians, which Robin's been working on. So we're getting all those needs out there for the community to respond to, which is really great. Let's see. With Art Sip and Stroll, it is up and running, as Sam said. We have a press release that we worked on that is now in the hands of Fuller and Sanders, in addition to Sam, obviously. That's going to be going out for the event. The website is live. We have the new 2022 poster. We have a new updated video and an updated call for artists. So it's basically done, and not without a lot of work from Sam and Danielle and everyone else who was involved with all these things. So Rhonda in particular and Robin, thank you for all your help. We've got, let's see, we've got Art Sip and Stroll was in the Chamber newsletter. What's nice, they've been soliciting for wine. So we've already got those feelers out there. And we had something in the Yountville, and I've got something in the Napa Valley calendar section of Napa Valley Life. So not only is it in the event section, But I reached out to Laura Larson, and we are going to have a paragraph again in the upcoming issue. Not the issue best of that's coming up, but then the spring issue, which will be able to feature Art Sip and Stroll. So we'll have the poster art. We've been told we'll have the poster art in a nice paragraph. So we have copy for that, and she's got all of that. So that'll be nice because that gets a lot of looks, and also it'll be in the digital edition. And I've posted it in the event calendar too. So that's all going well. We've also got Sam Chapman and Shop the Yountville Art Walk posted in Napa Valley Life event section. And in the chamber newsletter, they've been responding to it, and also Napa Sonoma. So we've been trying to keep it out there, and next door, of course, keep everything out there as best we can. Let's see. This is exciting. I know I shared it all with you, but Napa Valley Life, the Yountville Art Walk made it into the top 3 voters' choice of art galleries here in Napa Valley. So that will be coming in the best of issue. I'm assuming it's going to be out pretty soon. It still wasn't out today, but I don't know how it will be posted, probably in a listing. I don't know if we'll get a photograph or not. I certainly submitted one. But I think it's really great just for all of us to know that all the hard work that everybody puts in is being acknowledged by the community of Napa Valley on the whole, not just our town of Yountville. And the people are voting, not the towns or any of the people working on this. So that's something that I'm really excited about. So that's it for now, and more to be done for all of us on all of these things. And we'll keep at it to keep our name out there and keep all our events out there.
Great.
Hey, good job.
Yeah.
Lots of
Yeah.
work.
Yes,
Yeah, really.
agreed.
Yeah, I was, it's kind of surprising that we got the top 3, because usually those votes happen in, like the dentist office, where they say, here, vote for your favorite dentist right before you get, the needle injected into you. I don't know how that sort of really.
We did that actually, Cindy.
You did that, yeah.
We
I
didn't
was
make a
just
big
gonna
deal
say,
out of it.
Yeah, we'll have to go offline to discuss, the payoffs.
No, really, in all honesty, it happened because we've been all working really hard to build the awareness of Yountville arts, and the art walk is the most obvious because it's right out there every day and every night. And we've been trying to promote everything around that too, the gallery, literary, just Yountville arts overall. So what it really signals is people are hearing, listening, and seeing a lot about Yountville arts from all of us and the work that we do, which I think is really exciting, because when it's people voting, it's people's awareness. So that's just great.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, to see it as an entity, as a group, it's like all these sculptures spread all over the place, and to say, oh, that's actually like one thing. It's not, 30 different things. So
That's great.
That's great. All right, now we're going to move on to performing arts, and then probably after this, I know Jeff needs to go, but what's your stop time, Jeff?
6:30.
6:30. Okay, so
I have some time.
Okay, great. So Robin, do you want to speak to performing arts?
Sure. Through the art call, we've got 12 submissions, both for Art Sip and Stroll and for Music in the Park, with some really great musicians, both locally as well as from the Bay Area in general, and looking at planning a gathering to listen to these and vote and rate them so that we can submit them back to Sam and Daniel with kind of preferences and thoughts, and let them add their final touches and then go to contract.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
12.
And Jeff joined your committee, right?
Yes,
Woohoo!
Were you available the 24th to
I
listen?
am.
Good.
Yes.
Good. Then I'll put it out to the advisory members, and Sam, I'll get you that list to formalize it.
This is the largest performing arts subcommittee we've ever had.
It doubled overnight. You know.
Yeah, it grew from 1 to 2 solids.
Amazing.
Well, I think with the advisors, it's going to be a very crowded porch in front of Robin and John's house. It's going to be like, it's a party.
I was going to check with Sam to see if we could use the picnic tables, or I just have to see what the weather's going to bring. I think.
Of course.
Right, right.
Yeah.
We're going to go back to the roots of the Arts Commission, when it consistently involved drinking.
I'm good with that.
Assumption.
Yeah, right. Anyhow, well, that's great. That's exciting too. So next up we have, thank you, Robin. Art Sip and Stroll update. That would be Rhonda.
And Noel.
And
So
Noel, right.
the poster is out, of course, you've all seen it. So we're working on getting bids, and we've ordered a proof, and Sam, we're kind of going with the layout with that number of sponsors at this point. I think there were 4. I think I asked you about another one. Noel brought
It's
it
the
up.
same one, MBTID and the hotels of
That's what I thought.
the same thing. Yeah. They just want to be listed as the inns and hotels of Yountville because people don't know what MBTID means. So,
Oh,
yeah.
And then Sam, how's the artist call? How are ticket sales going?
So we opened tickets, the tasting packages went live on the 1st. So we're at 17, which is not surprising because we're not really marketing it yet. It hasn't hit the airwaves. So that's fine. We have 43 submissions on Art Call right now, and the deadline is the 15th. So we have about a week out, and artists are typically very last minute. So we'll send another round of email reminders. It's still running on the Art Call. We also place ads in, it's called Art Jobs, is an online thing as well. So it's running on that. And the Arts Council Napa Valley has pushed it out for us a couple times. So we'll just do one last push, hope to get us, quite a few more, but there's quite a few regulars that aren't on there. So people just wait.
mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
does that include the ones that we will probably grandfather in again? That include that whole number? Okay,
Yeah.
great. Thank you,
Okay.
Sam, for getting that out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Samantha, would you send a copy to us as well? There are a couple of artists I'd like to make sure see that.
Yeah, I'll send the link for sure.
Thank you.
So that's
And
it for
is that
Yep.
great? Thank you. Thanks, Rhonda. And any other staff informational reports, Sam? Or
The only thing I wanted to make sure you knew, and I'll email you this out too, is that we're starting to work on our summer rec guide, which will be in mailboxes the 2nd week of April, and it has a shelf life through August. So when you're thinking about what we have coming up this summer related to Yountville Arts, please shoot me an email. And, for things like the Sasha Paulson event, if we have graphics and stuff like that, or if they're already making their own advertisements. So we would include those in our rec guide. And that is, we're going back to the cycle of 3 times a year. And that's direct mailed. Goes to every Yountville resident and PO box. And then it's also direct mailed to 6,500 residents in Napa based on postal zip code data. So it's a pretty good resource. So again, it's the deadline will be the end of February, and it will go in mailboxes mid-April and have a shelf life through August. So just keeping that in mind. So obviously we'll have the Sasha Paulson event. We'll have the gallery shows that are coming up. We could also do a save the date for Out Loud, and then anything else, obviously music in the park. And then we'll have another round of advertisement for Art Sip and Stroll. So just keeping all that in mind as
Will we have poster art for the gallery shows then, that to go in, or just a listing? I know it's not very long till the end of this month.
Yeah, as long as we have artwork from each artist, if that's what they want us to be using, we can put together the advertisement quickly.
Okay.
We just need the artwork.
It comes out in July, correct?
It comes out the second week of April.
Oh, of April. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Oh,
But it
Right.
has to be submitted by the end of this month, correct?
Yeah, the end of February, first week of March will be the deadline. Yeah.
So you
Because I
need
think
some
that'll
art.
be really helpful for people to see the poster art from the gallery shows, as both you and Jim know.
yeah.
And they're really great looking. So,
Yeah, so it's really just, if Nick Khan and Jose want to send the artwork that they want used in marketing materials, then Danielle, using the format we've been using, can get that out pretty quickly. So.
Right. And the Spiro sisters too.
And the Spiro,
Oh.
yes, the Spiro sisters. We didn't even talk
Yeah.
about them.
Yep.
Dan, is that deadline also including getting bands hired for
Yes.
the music series? Okay.
Yeah, when are you guys meeting? I mean, we have a little more time, so it's done in-house. So, and I have to do, shouldn't say it like that. I do it. So we have some timing flexibility. It's just, I like to hold blocks, as I'm laying it out. So like if we don't have every band contract signed by the first week of March, it's okay. We have about 30 more days. So.
'Cause
and then I would imagine all you need is a photograph then, correct? So you, at least that you and Danielle don't have to create any artwork for it.
Yeah.
So
you're meeting on
Robin,
the-
is everybody submitting photos to you in addition, or I would think they all have their own photos.
most submitted photos, but it's just a matter, it takes some time for Danielle to go back and forth with the bands. I mean, there's 6 dates and it's who's available what dates, and it gets, it's moving pieces of the puzzle. So there's a lot of communication that has to happen behind the scenes.
Yeah, it'll be okay, I promise. When are you meeting to go over them? The 25th?
The 24th.
24th. Okay.
So
It'll be all right.
we'll be prepared to move quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Good. Any other comments or reports from any of the commissioners? No? Okay. Well, how about a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
A second? Robin.
Yes.
Robin seconds. Okay. Do we need to vote on this?
So I'm assuming we're all yeses on that. So
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you all very much.
thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
Oh,
Good night, everyone.
Good
and I might
night.
have a quick, could you stay on, Sam? I have a quick question for you.
Yeah, let me stop the live.
Okay.
Bye, everybody.
Good
Bye.
night.
Thanks all. Okay.
Just a second. Give me just 1 sec.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah.